come on. I gotta love it when it does this. Okay, I'm gonna have to work around this then. Sorry this is taking so long, people. Just I'm trying to... There we go, that should work better. Okay, what's up everyone? It's Trainfan40 Production. I figured I'd do something different in this video. I'm currently playing the MBTA Providence Stoughton Line train simulator on Roblox. This is my train right here, stopped at Canton Center. Essentially, the train is essentially terminated here, but we don't want to keep blocking the crossing, so instead of going to the other end, we're going to pull the train about a mile down the road, and then we're going to, we're going to pull the train about a mile down so that we can go do brake tests and everything, and then, yeah, so here we go. I got a classic F40 with the classic Leslie S5T horn, which I absolutely love. Alright, here we go. Actually, no, I'll get in the cab in a minute. Wait until the crossing resets. Okay, we'll get into the cab. Where's mine? There I am. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull up. Yeah, we're gonna pull up about a mile. We're gonna go a few more yards. Then we're gonna, we'll stop the train, do a brake test, do a brake test, and then we'll head back in toward Boston. And then then after that we will should I do a trip to Providence or should I do a trip to Providence or Wickford? Let me know what you guys think. Whoa! This is something I'm not a big fan about this game of. It's, hashtag logic, the trains being able to go right through you. Alright, let's turn off our headlight. Alright, whatever. Alright, let's walk up to the control car. Yep. Yeah, this control car 1514 is no longer in. I think it was scrapped a while. Oh wait, what? 15. I'm trying to think. Oh no, it's in Yeah, this one 1514. I think it was initially sent down to Rochester, with the majority of the other MBBs. And then in 2019, due to equipment shortages, they reactivated it back into service, and then it was finally retired in 2021. I think to this day, I think it's still sitting in Seaview, so. Alright, let's go do a brake test. Let's go from the inside view. Here we go. Now let's teleport back to Canton Center. And then... oh gosh. Here we go. Whoa, whoever this is, please stop laying on your horn. Dylan, how you doing? Wherever you are, stop. Stop laying on your horn. Thank you. I hate it when they lay on their horn like this. It's so annoying. Whoa. Gotta slow down a little bit. Here we go. Alright, here comes my train. I don't know why the headlight stays on that F40. It's... alright, let's head back to the cab view of my train. Now, we're about ready to pull into Canton Junction. Well, I'll have to wait and see how this goes. Almost, I notice the reflection of the headlight as I play this game. When you play in the dark, it's almost like, yeah, it's almost like the headlight is almost like a smiling face. Got to slow down. Oh yeah, we got to slow down, yeah, because otherwise we're gonna go into emergency. Go for this mini crossing right here. We are pulling into Canton Junction Station. whoever else is watching, tell me if you guys have a soft spot for the MBBs. I feel like I have more of a soft spot to the 1700s, because that was the first MBTA control car I think I ever got. I ever had a picture in front of at South Station. It was actually, it was control car number 1700, as a matter of fact. 1808 Productions, how you doing? This is, I guess, what you call a new thing. Yeah, new thing I'm doing. I'm just kind of just doing this just for the heck of it. If this goes well, I might not necessarily do this like every other night, but like I'll do it like when I feel like playing this game. Because this guy who just kind of started playing out of boredom, so I kind of just, you know. All right, let's release the brake. Let's go about half throttle, not full throttle. Same. I don't know when they're gonna up. They haven't. I'm hoping that they'll add either Stoughton or they'll add Reedville Station, or they'll just hopefully add or hopefully they'll add all the remaining stations towards South Station if they're not gonna add Stoughton. I hate it on this game when people I absolutely hate it when they literally, and I mean they literally, lay on their horn. I cannot stand it. I'm always commenting in the chat on this game saying, I'm like, listen, like, stop laying on your horn. And then, like, nobody listens. It's so... Okay, I almost thought my train did my... Okay, now we can pick up speed. Because we're now in a 110 mile per hour zone. Or, so there, we don't have restricted speed. We can speed up a little bit. Paul, how you doing? I've been waiting for this, or well, not necessarily waiting, but well, actually not on this account, because I've been able to live stream on this account for quite some time now. I think I only did one other live stream besides this one, and that was when I was driving to the Amherst Model Railroad Show. Yeah, I'm hoping they'll add those soon. I really hope they'll add, and honestly, like, I wish, like, with the F40s, with the, specifically the, well, I call them FU40s for reasons I'm not going to say, but with the Dash 3C series, what I wish they would do is, because I know, like, on some things you can sometimes use press the N button for a second horn, so, like, keep, like, the horn of the recording of 1031's horn, but I feel like on the end you could use the, they could add, like, for a raised letter horn, because there are some F40s that have their original horns, but then there are some units that have raised letters. How was my chase with the big boy? That was awesome. Getting to see the big boy again for the first time since 2019. Because like 6-7 years ago, I flew all the way to Kansas to see the big boy during its debut year when it was celebrating the 150th anniversary of the Transcontinental. And then, kind of like I said in my American 250th video, I basically, I kind of, when I heard it was coming to the East Coast, I was like, okay, this is not something I'm missing out on, because this is likely was a once-in-a-lifetime thing that the big boy was doing. But the first spot in the town it was in, I'm trying to remember, there were some people who almost got hit by the train. They were standing on, like, the grade, and me and all the other people, we were yelling at them to get down. And they just thought we were being funny by yelling them to get down. We were like, and I even said to them, I'm like, listen, we're not playing fucking games here. Like, unless you want to get hit by the train, I recommend you get down now. But they only got out of the way once they actually saw the locomotive coming, and once they realized how that thing is a beast. It's not just in every. It's not a train that you just see every day. It's, yeah. So my first day out with Thomas event, was at Edaville Railroad in June 2005. I have zero recollection of it, but at least from what my parents told me, I can't remember what it was, why I had to leave. Basically, I think from what my mom told me, I think I was mad I couldn't get a second ride, and they had to, and so they had to take me out of the park, I think. But I think I've gone to Edaville every year since 2005 for Day Out with Thomas. I don't remember there being a single year of me missing. I don't have any recollections of 2006 or 2007. I remember I went twice in 2008. That was for 2008. I went twice. I went in June, a day in June 2008, and then a few months later in August 2008. Honestly, Dylan, to answer your question, there's some information I'm not allowed to give out, but all I will say is, especially during the period of time I worked at Edaville, there was, the park, all I can say is King Richard's basically saved the property. That's all I'm going to say. Because during the time at Edaville that I was working at the park didn't even know what it wanted to be. The park was having kind of because they were still trying to figure out what they wanted to be after the pandemic, after they ended their partnership with Mattel, after Thomasland closed everything. And what a lot of people don't realize what was going on behind the scenes during that time is, like, Edaville was going under, Edaville was undergoing a lot of financial trouble because from what I've heard from a buddy of mine who I worked with, and I'm still buddies with him to this day, he even told me that they filed for bankruptcy. He even told me that they filed for bankruptcy at the end of 2024. So King Richard's essentially saved the property because if it wasn't sold to King Richard's, who knows who would have bought it, and they probably would not have, like, preserved, like, what Edaville is. Yeah, King Richard's does their own thing, but it is what it is. That's all I'll say. I mean that's yeah, that's yeah. Alright, now we can stop the train here because this line is not going to go much further. Okay, remove the train control screen. Alright, run a train. What should I do, guys? Should I do... Honestly, I'm thinking about doing a GP40 MC. What's up, Jackson? I'm thinking about doing a GP40 MC. Do you guys think I should do a Jeep, run a 5-car bi-level set to, what do I think of the CNW Railroad? Honestly, I never really had any thoughts about it. I don't think I mean... Chicago Northwestern. I wasn't alive during the time Chicago Northwestern existed, so I don't, yeah, I wasn't alive during the time the Chicago Northwestern existed, so I honestly don't really have much say on it. Yeah, I don't really have much, thoughts on the Chicago Northwestern. Hold on, let me just set the route. We're gonna go to Providence, not, all the way to Whitford. What do we have for my lead unit? Oh. cursed 1126. The first GP40MC to get LED headlights and ditch lights and an e-bell, which I think we're all too familiar with now. As of today, in 2026, there is only... oh, crap. Okay. As of today, there's only one GP40MC on the MBTA fleet left with a mechanical bell, and that is Mass Dodge GP40MC number 1136. That is the last one. What do I think of Chuggington? I could care less for Chuggington. It's nothing compared to Thomas. And to anybody who asks me what my thoughts are about the upcoming reboot, if you're asking me what I think about the upcoming reboot for Thomas coming out later this year, I choose to remain cautiously optimistic. I mean, I feel like I'm gonna wait until we get a trailer, which honestly by this point we're well overdue for a trailer for the new TV series, because I mean because they said that the trailer would be out in May, and we're almost halfway through July, and it still hasn't, and we still don't have a trailer. I'm just at least glad that All Engines Go ended, because, and honestly, I'm just probably going to say a majority of the same thing that Unlucky Tug said in his thoughts on the new reboot video. I feel like All Engines Go suffered to make a lasting impression on its main target audience, and that is kids. If I were to give you my full summarize of that show, it is that it did not have a clear vision of what it wanted to be. Every aspect of that show felt like it was put together by a corporate boardroom of executives, and not from a single creator that understands what Thomas is supposed to be. And I think the average viewer, for someone who would watch All Engines Go, would probably be like, why are they even still trains then? What is this show even about? So Mattel's grand plan to make Thomas sell better and make it stand above its competition was to take away every aspect of what made it so unique and special, and make it look more like the competition and more disposable and forgettable. That's what my sum up of All Engines Go. My favorite cereal? I don't know, honestly. I'm honestly really not sure. Oh, 1808 Productions. Oh, you saw me at the canal on the 14th? I don't... Oh, wait, we were... Oh, yeah, I think I might remember seeing you. Rumor is on the new Thomas show, rumor is that Boko is going to be returning. That's a rumor, but I'll believe it when I see it. Oh, hold on. Okay, shut the doors. The Cinnamon Toast Crunch was one of my favorites. Okay, here we go. For New England, I'm gonna have to go with either Conway Scenic or the Valley Railroad. That's why I'm gonna have to go with Peak. Next stop is Canton Junction, 3.5 miles away. And then what I'll do is when I get to Providence, I will, so at each stop this is what I'm gonna do, so that way it doesn't try to take me back. I'm gonna do this, and then we're gonna do that at every stop. That way it doesn't reroute us. Hero of the Rails definitely started off solid for CGI Thomas. It does mostly. I feel like there are a couple gripes that I have with that movie. One of them is Hero's backstory. Don't get me wrong, I do love that he has one, and it's what made his character so interesting, but retconning having Hero be the first engine on Sodor and all that stuff, it kind of basically feels like it was the show crew's way of saying, this is an all-new timeline. CGI Thomas has his own beast, baby. Hope you're ready. Because here's my take on Hero of the Rail, specifically with that part. If a show has been around for long enough, and has established lore with a big fan following, you need to respect that. And if it doesn't work within canon, then make it work within canon. Rewrite it. Get clever. And one of my other biggest gripes about Hero of the Rails is that the narrator never shuts up. Hero of the Rails and the whole Nitrogen era in general completely suffers with the overuse of narration common to that entire era. The narrator just does not shut up. What I would love to see is an edit of that movie with the narrator's part deduced a lot. Because, like, the trains talk themselves now. Let them speak for once. I mean, a guy can only take so much Michael Brandon before he has to pause. That's what I have to say about Hero of the Rails. Blue Mountain Mystery, I love that movie too. I love Victor's backstory. That's what really worked a lot. It's honestly the best movie of the Nitrogen era. Not just because it has the Scarlois fan service, but I feel like the reason why that movie worked so well the way it did was because of Andrew Brenner. Because as we know, Sharon Miller wrote the script, but then Andrew Brenner edited it. And that worked very well. Fiery Flynn, Flynn was a nothing character in the whole series. I'm honestly not... I could care less that they redesigned him so heavily. But here's what I don't get about all of the redesigned road vehicles. Like, especially Flynn and Birdie, the toy box that just got leaked to Birdie. Like, especially Flynn, because as we know, Flynn, like I said, he was a nothing character in the show. If you're going to redesign a character so heavily, then why not just make it a whole new character? Or why not just have it be like Frank the Fire Truck or something? What do I think of the U.S. state for rail fanning? I feel like... I don't know. I feel like the rail fan community in the U.S., or especially in Massachusetts, has definitely become more toxic over the last several years for varying reasons. I just don't really want to really get into that, but it's complicated, to say the least. Hold on, let me get, yeah, I completely forgot about how South Attleboro is closed, so I gotta... I'd say I have nostalgia for both the hit model seasons and the Nitrogen era, because I grew up watching the I grew up watching the both the hit model seasons, particularly season 8, which I feel like season 8 and season 11 were probably the better model series by Hit Entertainment. As for the Nitrogen eras, I'm not going to say I don't have nostalgia for them, but I do. But the thing is, I'd say with that, it's just, and because I feel like the problem is with nostalgia is, like, people try to use nostalgia as an excuse for something being good. And the problem is, nostalgia does not mean good. It never has. For example, I'm nostalgia for the hit model seasons. Are those good? Absolutely not. I'm nostalgia for the narrator Michael Brandon because he was the longest running US narrator. Was he a good narrator? Absolutely not. I'm nostalgia for Thomas and the Magic Railroad. Is that good? Absolutely not. Like I said, just because you are nostalgic for something, it doesn't mean it's good. Nostalgia does not mean good. It never has. If there's any character I'm hoping will return in 2026, I'm hoping, honestly, Duke. Because if they're going to go back to maybe like what the pre-CGI seasons were like prior to the Big World Big Adventure era, then I'm hoping that they'll go back to that kind of stuff. Hopefully they'll bring back Duke, they'll bring back Boko. And who knows, maybe this will give them an opportunity to even bring like Railway Series characters into the mix too. Characters we haven't had the chance to see on screen. I'm also hoping that Rosie will be a new main lead, because Rosie is kind of a blank slate as it is. And as Unlucky Tug said in his video, people want to see Rosie expanded upon more. We honestly thought, because we thought around 2017, when the cast changes happened, we thought she was going to be expanded upon more there. But unfortunately, that never happened. Because I feel like that was all just some kind of practical joke from that era, and it was kind of insulting to the fans watching, because it made no sense. So it made absolutely no sense, because they made a big design about redesigning Rosie almost 10 years ago, only just for her to be thrown into the background again. Ask me some more questions, because honestly, I'd love to answer more of your guys' Thomas questions. But Dylan, what era of model series did you grow up? The hit model seasons or the classic seasons? AKA seasons 1 through 7. That's, I grew up with the hit model seasons, seasons 8 through 12, and then partially the early CGI seasons of the Nitrogen era. Okay, I gotta start slowing down because we're a mile out from the station. Honestly, that is a good headcanon for Rosie. That is a good way how they could expand upon Rosie, but from what it seems like in the promo images, it seems like that Rosie is going to be a main character. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see her working on Thomas's branch line with Thomas and Percy and possibly Toby. But I'm also hoping Donald and Douglas will return in the new series as well. And honestly, I feel like they could use me as a good new voice for Thomas, because literally, I sound just like Joseph May. Joseph May's voice of Thomas, which Joseph May was my favorite American Thomas voice. He was honestly like my favorite voice actor besides Edward Glenn and John Hassler. Once I stop the train and you don't have to hear the noise, then I'll do my Thomas voice in a second. Dim the headlights so don't blind any possible passing trains. All right, everyone ready to hear my Thomas voice? Give me 1 second. Hello, I'm Thomas. I'm the #1 blue engine. Sir Topham Hatt loves it all when we are all really useful engines. What do you guys think of that for Joseph May? For the Joseph May voice? Martin Sherman, I don't know. I'm not a big fan. I'm not a big fan of Martin Sherman's voice. He just, I get it. Like, I mean, yes, he definitely had early growing pains, and his voice has grown on me, over time. Because, like, yes, he definitely had early growing pains in the Nitrogen era, but like I said, he got better over time. But I don't know, Martin Sherman, his voice doesn't really work for me. It's a Thomas voice that doesn't really work for me. But I feel like I can also do a very good Martin Sherman voice as well. I think Arthur is the works on a separate branch line. Well, Martin Sherman's Percy voice was bad in CGI, but when Christopher Regland took over after Sherman left, Christopher Regland was a great American Percy voice, especially for being an American voice. And then here's my Martin Sherman Thomas voice. Hello, Percy. How are you doing today? I'm great, Thomas. Oh, how are you? Oh, I'm kind of... See, I can't really do their voices that great. And I hate it. I absolutely hate doing Martin's Percy voice. I could do his Diesel voice very well, but... Oh, you want me to do the Thomas Lamb voice? Well, bust my buffers. What a special day. I hope you're all having as much fun as I am today. Hello. Hi there. Today's a great day. Hello, everybody. Thank you for coming to visit me today at Thomas Land. I'm so excited to be with all my friends. Let's go for a ride. Fizzling fireboxes. Sir Topham Hatt has been keeping us engines very busy. Hop aboard. Okay, let's get Canton Junction and Sharon off because, well, yeah. Honestly, 1808 Productions, probably my favorite Emily episode was, and this might be not a popular opinion, but hey, it's my opinion. It's the season 8 episode. I can't remember the name. It's where Emily warns Thomas to go get a snowplow. Thomas feels in character in that episode. He feels like Thomas as he should be portrayed. He motes and complains when he has to put on something he doesn't like, such as his snowplow, and then he ends up just getting into trouble later on. That is a great Thomas episode. Thomas actually feels like Thomas as he should be portrayed in that episode. That is my favorite Thomas episode, and that's my favorite Emily episode. Yeah, that's my favorite Emily episode. Yeah, yeah, Dylan, you're right. That's the episode from season 8. That episode where, even though that was a very crappy era, that episode worked very well, because I rewatched that episode recently and I was like, Thomas actually feels like Thomas in this episode, as he should be portrayed. Yes, Paul. When I was at the Valley Railroad for the Thomas event, for their Thomas event, I did ask her about the 2-foot narrow gauge, and he's still safe sitting at Strasburg, but they don't know. They just don't know what they're gonna do with him, though. They just don't know what they're gonna do with the 2-footer yet. Okay, I think we gotta pass one more crew. I almost forgot to do that when I passed them. If an HSP-46 came to Sodor, I don't even know what I would even think of that. The original static model era faces, I prefer the CGI faces because it's more accurate to the TV series and it doesn't look because they were very limited because since I work at Medina, or well, I worked at Medina when I worked alongside with I was in charge of operating Thomas over there. And the person who I was the assistant with over there, he told me that back in the day when they had the old static fiberglass faces, where only the eyes would move, you had to manually move the eyes, manually move the smoke machine, and a whole bunch of the other stuff, and it was just a real pain with those static model series faces. So I feel like most people liked it better when they moved to the CGI faces because they were a lot easier to operate. But I think, yeah, Jackson is requesting that I do, the Thomas's, the 3 Spanish lines. So here we go. Todos a bordo para comunicar la noria espacial. Aquí vamos. Mis amigos y yo, capa de noria espacial, juntos. Hola, soy Tomás. Esta noche ni se puede dar, José da. Hola a todos. Compañía espacial. Y se playa de Dula, de Nidas de Disparo, de Auri Tomás. Esta noche mira play a todos mis amigos. Espero que hoy, la paliza patía estatista, taten cuando yo. I never really watched the Jack and the Pack episodes. I never really found them as interesting as other people do. I think the whole concept itself was interesting itself, but it's just a shame that not much was able to come of it. And part of me wonders what would have happened if the hit buyout never happened. I have a few Jack in the Pack characters. I'll get one out in a second. Because I do take-along recreations of... yeah, I do a lot of take-along recreations of... what do they call it? I do take-along recreations of Day Out with Thomas events in the U.S. I have a separate channel for that. Where can I find Jack? I have a take-along model of Jack. I don't know. Oh, here it is. Whoa, sorry about that. Okay, I gotta speed up a little bit. Here's my take-along version of Jack. I use this when they load I use that for when I load up the dummy units onto the loading trucks, but oh, no. Okay, I thought I was gonna overshoot the platform. Right. I feel like it's definitely off a little bit, season 6 and 7, but I feel like that was partially because of the transition to Hit Entertainment buying out Ghislaine Entertainment. But they still feel like classic Thomas, though. I do not know who this person is watching my train, but I'm hoping it's someone watching the live stream. I mean, I'm hoping that someone is watching this, whoever's watching this live stream might be on this game as well. Because they want to try to catch up with my train, because it's not every day where you see a GP40 MC running on the Northeast Corridor. So, any other questions about just Thomas related, or about the just MBTA in general, or any other thoughts on that? I don't know. I don't really know if I exactly have a favorite newbie from the hit era. I don't know. Maybe Hector. Maybe. I wonder who chose the horn for this GP40 MC, because it is very, very accurate to some of the better sounding ones. And believe it or not, to all the replicas, two characters I would have liked to have seen paired up. Bill and Ben and Max and Monty with the, definitely with the pack, for sure. But what a lot of people don't know is with the replica fleet of the dummy units and of the American Thomases, of the replicas, I can imitate every single whistle of all three, of all the 4 standard gauge dummy units, the 3-foot narrow gauge, and the 2-footer. I can do all of them, all 6 of them. Let's take Mansfield off. Let's do this. Honestly, not really for the merchandise. I take along and take and play. Will always be my favorite. I mean, I have a few wooden trains. Happy birthday, little Ray. I did not know that your birthday was in 8 days. What I like about the, let me turn that down a little bit. What I love about the take along and take a play range, it was definitely, actually give me 1 second, okay. Because I actually have a couple with me right here. The best thing about these is just these are the early take a play era, when Fisher Price bought out take along. It was the coupling system. It was a vast improvement from Erdl and from Wooden Railway. They have these smart 2-way magnets that don't break and aren't crap, and they don't break. I love the 2-way connections. You know, they can connect front to back to back, back to front, or they can do anything. That's why I feel like take along and take and play are the most important, or not important. I feel like they're the most success, the most important merchandise in Thomas merchandise history. For me personally, but I feel like Adventures was also a no comment on Dennis. He never returned. He only appeared in one episode only, just to sell toys. I actually, good thing you brought up his name, because here's one of the Dennis toys I have of him. UK Day Out with Thomas. Honestly, I'm not sure, because I've never been to the UK for a Day Out with Thomas. I've only been to Thomas events here in the States. So it's kind of hard to get an opinion when I haven't been to one outside of the US. Oh, come on, you can do it. Okay, there we go. We might have overshot the platform a little, but it's not too bad, because I mean, this is our last stop before getting to Providence, so. Honestly, that would be an interesting duo, having a fan service character and a glup shitto paired together. That honestly wouldn't be a bad duo. And to anybody who's wondering how many Day Out with Thomas locations I have been to since going to Day Out with Thomas, the amount of railroads I've been to has been the following: Edithville Railroad, the Newport Dinner Train, the Valley Railroad of Essex, Connecticut, Medina Railroad Museum, Strasburg Railroad, and Conway Scenic Railroad. Those are all of the, unless I'm missing a location, which I don't believe I am. Yeah, those are all the locations I have been to for Day Out with Thomas in the U.S. Absolutely not. Thomas and the Magic Railroad is not canon. It should never be canon. It does not need a sequel. There was going to be a sequel to the original one, but it was canceled because of the abysmal failure that the original one was. My sum ups on Thomas and the Magic Railroad is just that the movie is so, and I mean it is so convoluted. The plot is so hard to follow. Because, you have like the three human characters that you have to set up, which have never been seen in Thomas before, ever. So I feel like what broke the movie the most for that, and this element is very important, it's the magic element. Because Thomas was held with such high regards in the general public because of how realistic it once was. The concept of a talking train was nothing new, but it was what Audrey did with it. Believe it or not, I actually, one of my visits to Strasburg, because I visited Strasburg Railroad on several occasions, not just for Thomas. My first time stopping at Strasburg for Thomas was in September 2023, before the mechanical issue happened with Brooklyn Eastern District Terminal 15. But when I went there to see 611 in 2019, 475 was running with it, and I just thought that was very cool, getting to see the same locomotive that was used in Thomas and the Magic Railroad. What's your all's opinion on the issue with Brooklyn Eastern District Terminal 15? I'd love to hear your guys' opinion on that. Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree. I mean, because it's unclear on whether or not the engine will ever return as Thomas again, because Mattel is being selfish and decided to not fund the project on what it will take to rebuild the engine. Because from what I have heard, because I also reached out to Strasbourg directly and asked them about what the future will hold for 15, and they basically told me they don't know. They basically said that the engine is going into storage for the time being until they can figure out what the best approach will be for their business. That's what Strasbourg told me directly. But it's unclear on whether or not the locomotive will ever return as Thomas, because Mattel has decided to not fund the project on what it will take for the engine to run again, because it's going to be a very expensive project to get 15 back up and running again. Unfortunately, I've never read a single Railway Series book ever, and honestly, that's kind of bad of me to never read one, considering the fact I'm a big Thomas fan, and I'm not a true Thomas fan if I never read a Railway Series book. That's a push from Mattel. They're for some reason the last few years Mattel has been putting on sticker decals every year to match the yearly theme. I'm not a big fan of it. I don't understand why they can't just leave him alone. Favorite rivalry in Thomas? I'd say probably the favorite rivalry story was the premiere of season 2 episode. When Thomas and Percy were arguing about give me a second. When Thomas and Percy were arguing, that was probably my favorite rivalry. About who's the better looking engine. How many people are on the... Wow. That's me, obviously. This has to be the last inbound of the night for whoever is on that train, but it's a game, so there are no trains run on a schedule here, so... Wow, I've been streaming for almost an hour now. That is crazy. Sorry, I just needed to take a drink of water, because my mouth is starting to get dried out a little bit, so... Well, I feel like Strasbourg definitely is not the type of railroad that would cancel their Thomas event just because 15 is out of service indefinitely. Because I feel like if Day Out with Thomas does continue to decline in the U.S. like it has the last couple years, if there's going to be only a handful of railroads that will be considered a must-keep, Strasbourg will definitely be a must-keep railroad. Duncan, I don't know. I don't really have an opinion on Duncan. Do you guys want to hear my Donald and Douglas voice? Because I love the Scottish twins. That's one line down here, Duck. Dougie will be here with the next lot. That's one line down here, Dougie. We'll go with the next lot soon. Actually, no. I think we should stick to the main line for now. What do you say, Doug? What do you say, Dougie? I didn't say nothing. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if you just do the opposite of whatever I say. In any case, you're just... Yeah, that's... I love the Scottish twins. We're now passing the, construction of the Pawtucket Station. I feel like I'm hoping in the next update, whenever this gets updated next, I'm hoping this Pawtucket Station will be finished. I'm hoping they will have added Stoughton Station as well. When will Pawtucket Station be done? Couldn't tell you. Timothy, the oil burning engine. He's... I don't know. He's kind of just a nothing character. I mean, he only really appeared in only like 2 seasons until he disappeared. I mean... Yeah, I mean, Timothy is kind of just a blank slate as it is, so... I kind of like Flynn. Charlie was also kind of a nothing character. So, honestly, like the gender swap, it might be the best thing that ever happened to Charlie. I feel like before I consider watching the 2026 reboot, I'll have to probably, I'll have to get a trailer on it. I'll have to see a trailer of it first before I decide on whether or not... Because honestly, I feel like this is where I am at this point. If the new show does suck, and if the new show ends up not being good and sucks, then whatever. If it is whatever, the classics and the Brenner eras will always exist. But if the show is good, then great, more Thomas to enjoy. That's where I stand with the new show. If the show does end up sucking, then whatever. We just continue doing what we've been doing for the last almost decade now. The classics and the Brenner era will always still exist. But like I said, if the new show is good, then great, more Thomas to enjoy. What I'm hoping for this new TV show is for the show to have a clear identity and to have good writing. That's what I'm hoping. I'm honestly surprised we haven't gotten an idea who the voice cast will be for the show. because that's probably that. I feel like the voice cast is the most important thing. I know some people have predictions that Thomas, Percy, and Rosie will be voiced by kids. I'm really, really hoping that will not happen, but I mean, I'm if anything, I'm hoping that Joseph May will return as Thomas. I mean, I'm hopeful that that will happen, considering the fact that they're using Joseph May's voice as the voice recording for Day Out with Thomas this year. But, I mean, we'll have to see. No, I didn't really have many take-along sets. I kind of just bought the engines individually. All right, Providence Station, final stop. Well, we'll have to see what Mattel will actually do, because, as we know, I mean, Mattel is not the kind of company to admit that they're wrong. I mean, there we go. Yeah, I mean, Mattel is not the kind of company to admit that they were wrong. So, we'll have to see. Shut these doors, and we will be heading over to the layover yard. The Thomas Creative Collection. I'm not entirely sure. Oh, I just gotta make sure my headlights work. Oh. There we go. Back. I don't think I've seen the Thomas Creative Collective. I don't think I have. But recently, if you guys follow my official take-along before I leave, before I depart the station, if you haven't seen my take-along / take-and-plate channel, recently, I got these bad boys. The Tomy Play Rail sets, the Railway Series one, and the all-gold Annie and Clarabelle set. From the 80th anniversary last year. I finally got these in hand finally. I haven't decided what I'm going to do with them yet, but for right now, until I decide whether I'm going to display them, they will stay unopened for now. And also, a few weeks ago, on top of that, I also managed to get this, the Sodor Reading Between the Lines, for the 20th anniversary. I managed to get that as well. Favorite TV show is Thomas and Friends altogether. That's that's without a competition. All right, to the labor yard we go. I hope that never happens. I really hope Thomas and SpongeBob never cross paths. That would break me. But it's very cool. I'm glad I managed to get this, the Sodor Reading Between the Lines, for the 20th anniversary. I got that a few weeks ago. Have a good night, Dylan. Because once I take this train to the yard, I'm gonna end the stream once I get this train into the yard. Yeah, I'm not a big fan that they made those SpongeBob things of the Thomas Minis. I don't really know. I don't really think SpongeBob could work into the Railway series. I really don't think that could really work. At least I don't see how that could work. I might do these more often because it seems like this turned out pretty well tonight. So I might do live streams like this more often. But I'm also thinking what I might possibly do is like, if there's periods of times like long gaps in between videos, like regular uploads, then I might just make videos of like this, which I almost did in 2023, but unfortunately I never did it. Alright, and we are almost in the labor yard. I'm gonna have to slow down a little bit more to... I don't think I'll use trains in SimWorld. I don't know. I mean, I might try to get Dugtail Games to get the that new that Island of Sodor thing maybe, but that would probably be that would probably be it for me though. Okay, we'll slow down until we get to like 3 miles, 2 miles an hour, or 7 miles an hour. I gotta get off the train anyway to park it into the track that's gonna go into. And here we are, pulling into the yard for the night. I'll put it away for the weekend, actually. Alright everyone, that's going to wrap it up for this live stream. Thank you all for watching who came in. Maybe I'll try to do this more often depending on how this went, and hope you all enjoyed and have a great night.